No, whispered Toothless to the woman's fang as the two little dragons crouched at the crack of Hiccup's waistcoat. We got to go, Woden's fang the desperado. We're cornered. Fly, whispered Hiccup in dragonese, and the Woden's fang and Toothless burst out of Hiccup's waistcoat like twin hummingbirds, Toothless giving out little bursts of fur, pew, 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 like he was trying to shoot his way out. But the hairy, scary librarian was standing just next to Hiccup, and he was just as fast with his left hand as he was with his right. He drew those amber nets from his belt quick as lightning, just as he used to draw his heart slicer swords. He used to use swords, but nets were his new thing. Flick, flick went the hairy, scary librarian's amber nets, and he caught the Woden's fang with his left net and Toothless with his right, and tied the ends of the nets up nice and tight, and presented them to Alvin with a low, cringing bow. Toothless and the Woden's fang howled in horror, for dragons are wild creatures, and nothing upsets them more than being trapped. And the librarian turned to Hiccup and narrowed his eyes. Never cross a librarian, spat the hairy, scary librarian with venom, his voice like broken glass. For librarians are patient, and they can wait for their revenge. Dragon! Screeched the witch triumphantly, pointing a dramatic finger at the Woden's fang, and Toothless all tangled and desperately struggling in the librarian's amber nets. I smell dragons, see? We're at war with the entire... Oh, there they are, look. Woden's fang and Toothless caught in the hairy, scary librarian's nets. We are at war with the entire dragon race. They have reduced our villages to black dust, and yet the traitor carries dragons with him. The warriors of the Wild West do not like that. Under attack as they were every night by dragons, and they roared in fury. Don't worry, Mother, said Alvin in delight. I shall just squash them with my foot. Oh, he flung Toothless to the ground and lifted his metal foot. No, shrieked the witch. The Toothless dragon is a lost thing. Remember, we need him so you can be crowned king of the Wild West. Curse it, swore the traitoress, but I can still kill the other one. He flung the Woden's fang on the ground, all tangled still in the net. No, shrieked Hiccup, thinking very speedily. I don't know which one is the lost thing, but they both have no teeth. Quick as a wink, the Woden's fang sucked in his teeth. Double curse it, swore Alvin the traitoress, looking down at the supposedly toothless Woden's fang in a baffled sort of way. But I can kill something, surely. I can kill Hiccup, said Alvin, cheering up. Please let me kill Hiccup, Mother. He's not a lost thing. He's the finder of the king's lost things, though, said the witch. Of course you can kill Hiccup, Alvin, my darling, and you'll do a lovely creative job of it, I know. But you'll just have to postpone that pleasure until he's found us the last lost thing, the jewel. There they are, pointing at him. The little rat draws the lost things to him like he's a little lost thing magnet. Rot him. We just have to motivate him properly, and luckily I'm very good at motivating children. Oh dear, shivered Hiccup, now completely petrified. This doesn't sound too great. The hairy, scary librarian interrupted with an apologetic cough, cringing before the witch and wiping his mouth with the end of his beard. Talking of motivation, I believe you offered freedom to any slave who brought you the little thieving magpie who is the traitor of the Wild West. My library is waiting for me. I've been gone from it too long. Freedom, witch, freedom! I claim my freedom. Freedom. Again, it was pathetic to see how the crowds of slaves leaned forward eagerly. Freedom, they crooned after the librarian longingly. Freedom. Freedom to the librarian meant being back in his library, lurking through the passages, guarding his precious books. And in his mind, he was already there, wandering the labyrinth, happy in that darkness. But if there was anyone on this good green earth who was even less grateful than Alvin himself, it was Alvin's mother, Excelnor. Now she had Hiccup to find her the jewel. She no longer needed to motivate either the slaves or the librarian. Freedom? Laughed the witch in surprise. What is this nonsense about freedom? Slaves can never be freed. The slave mark is a mark that can never be removed. But, sputtered the librarian, you said it could be burnt off. You promised it could be burnt off. I may have said told a little white lie. Oh, she's awful, that witch. But only because I care so much about winning this war for all of us, lied the witch. Throw this librarian back into the crowd. The hairy, scary librarian learned the hard way just exactly how empty is the promise of a witch. Now, said the witch, bounding forward and crouching down to Hiccup's level, I'm going to give you a very clear goal, Mr. Cleverclog's lost thing finder. I want you to find us the dragon jewel in... Oh! The witch searched her mind for a good number and settled on 3. In exactly 3 hours, or I won't just kill the boy with the unfeasibly large nostrils. I'll kill everybody. I'll set the ticking thing. Tick, tick, tick. 3 hours? said Alvin in bewilderment, looking out through the open door at the end of the courtyard, the vast expanse of red sand stretching out as far as the eye could see. I wanted to find the dragon jewel in 3 hours, Mother. But Mother, those sands have been scoured by the Ammonets, by the Ammonets of thousands and thousands of slaves. If they haven't found the jewel, how is Hiccup going to find it in just 3 hours? And Mother, there are those that think that maybe the jewel is not here. Grimbird had a terrible sense of humour, you know. Alvin gestured to his hook. Look at my hand and the coffin lid. Hiccup is the jewel finder, shrieked the witch. He found the crown of the Wild West in just 3 hours, didn't he, when Fish Lashman had been looking for it for 20 years? Trust me, he's the kind of boy who needs a deadline. Oh, for Thor's sake, she'd gone bananas. I wish you'd let me deal with him right now instead, grumbled Alvin. He slipped through my hook so many times. Look what happened at the Flashbowl School of Forward Sword Fighting and in the Forest of Berserk. We won't make that mistake again, said the witch. I've learned my lesson. Last time I let him go down into the tunnels and the fire pit on his own. This time we will not let the little rat out of our sight, not for even 1 single second. Give the little horror the map, screamed the witch. Get the little worm his sandlock. Get his necks, get his poles, put on his hamlet. Don't need the helmet, Hiccup interrupted hastily, but the witch ignored him. Give the little nightmare all the equipment he needs. So the warriors rushed around, finding Hiccup his equipment and getting him out for the seeking. 5 minutes later, Hiccup found himself standing on the slightly wobbly platform of the Hopeful Puffin, holding his amber net in one shaking hand and Grim with the ghastliest map of the Amber Slate Lands in the other and the horrible itchy helmet back, still not fitting, onto his head. Poor Toothless and the Woden's Fang, still in the librarian's heart-slights amber nets, were now hanging from the end of the royal sandboat, and they peered sadly through the nets at Hiccup. And huddled around Hiccup in a circle was a crowd of warriors and slaves of the Wild West, hundreds and hundreds deep, all in their sand yachts, all heavily armed with knives and swords and daggers and axes and longbows and clubs, and all of these weapons were pointed directly at Hiccup. The witch wasn't taking any chances. One big guy was even aiming one of those magic rocket launcher thingamies at Hiccup, not to mention a whole row of soldiers with their machines that threw 5 spears at once and bows that launched 20 arrows simultaneously. Alvin alone could have overtaken Hiccup in 3 strokes of a heartbeat on his massive royal sandhog yacht with its cutting edges poled by gumboil and at least 3 others, and he had screwed the scrawn blade into his arm attachment just in case. Now, hissed the witch, no sudden movements, you little rot owl, or we'll blast you to Valhalla and back again. Show him, Gormless. Gormless let fly the spear-throwing machine, and ching, 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 the 6 spears buried themselves in a tight circle around the Hopeful Puffin too. Hiccup, gulp. 1 spear would kill me, witch, said Hiccup. You don't need 100. Find us at your wall, screamed Alvin the treacherous.